Hey everyone, Sleepy Reader here. I haven't been able to do my comic thoughts, where I go over the week's comics that I've read for 3 weeks now. So I thought I'd just attempt to quickly go over the last 3 weeks worth of comics, or at least the ones I could round up, and give you some quick thoughts on them. It might take a while doing so many, but for whatever obsessive reason, I like to record my thoughts on all these things. So, since I've had a cold, I don't really feel like being in front of the camera that much. But here is a picture of the real me, as drawn by Sean Riaz. So it's interesting that right now, two of my favorite comics are Superman comics, Action Comics. Having read just 2 issues, but the 2 issues of Action Comics written by Greg Pak and wonderful art by Aaron Kuder that I've read, have me looking forward to more. So that, along with Adventures of Superman, are comics I look forward to every month. Five Ghosts, a few weeks ago, number 8, was just kind of a continuation of what seems like it's going to be an interesting story, but it was an issue that just just move the story along just a little bit. So hopefully the story will pick up a bit there. Sex Criminals was a decent issue, maybe less exciting than I was expecting, in terms of interesting, unusual plot. I continue to enjoy Sex Criminals, and I probably will for a while, but I can also imagine at some point no longer being interested and moving on. We'll see where it really goes. It's still hard to tell. Shaolin Cowboy was more of the same, if you like the same from Darrow, and I like it enough. But as Travis said, I'm kind of glad that it's over. Maybe if in a year or two he does another one of these, I'll pick it up. If he does another one in a few months, I think I'll pass on it. This was supposed to be a jump-on point for Avengers AI, and I really dug this cover. And
What does Avengers AI mean?
Avengers AI means artificial intelligence. Quacking Duck is here with me, folks.
Why is it AI?
So
artificial
intelligence is when computers can think like humans or become self-aware like humans, to know that they're really living things. There's a lot of cool ideas in this, but this was not a good jump-on point. And the art was kind of cool, but there wasn't much in terms of characterization. It was hard to follow where the plot might be going. But I may give Avengers AI some more chances. We'll see. My impression is it has lots of cool ideas, but maybe not. Maybe a overly stretched out plot or something. FBP was a neat enough ending to a 2-issue story arc, and I appreciated just a 2-issue story arc. And I like the new character of the female agent of FBP. So I'm looking forward to more of this. My expectations are pretty low key on FBP now. I'll stick with it because it's the kind of science fiction book that I really enjoy. But my expectations are kind of lowered. I had high expectations for Letter 44, number 3, because I really enjoyed number 2. But this one lacked something. It just didn't click with me so much, and the revelation of an assassin near the end, somehow in the picture that had been painted so far, just seemed kind of trite and cheesy, but maybe that will pay off more as the book comes along. So I'm certainly not giving up on Letter 42, but it was one that was, didn't live up to my expectations this month. Swamp Thing is excellent. It did feel like they ended this arc kind of suddenly, but it leaves me very interested for the next set of consequences, and I'm excited to see that these creators will still be on the book in April, because looking at the solicits from April. So I'm still a big exponent of Swamp Thing. Why was it kind of a what?
A small story.
Well, that was this one had just told a story in just 2 issues, and these days they seem to take 5 or 6 issues to tell a story usually. Do you want to look at it?
No.
I don't know if it's probably one you'd find boring, but Earth 2 continued to be really good. So yeah, this is kind of, my expectations are lifting really high. I do have to say, it's really good, and love the art, love the writing, and I really enjoy these new looks at Batman and Superman. But originally Earth 2, the charm of it was supposed to be the big 3 were out of the way, and we were going to take a look at some of the smaller heroes. So that mission statement of Earth 2 at the moment is not being followed up on. So in a way, it's yet another alternate version of the Justice League. I loved Afterlife with Archie number 3. Unfortunately, this one's too kind of creepy. Even though Quacking Duck likes Archie, we've been reading a lot of Archie lately, haven't we?
It's called Afterlife.
It's about all the Archie characters turning into zombies, but it's kind of scary. I'd like that scary horror movie feeling of this. It's just really clicking well. So with the first issue, I was enjoying it, but didn't have a whole lot of feelings about it. Second issue was really good, and this issue continues to be just really great. Daredevil is back in form, and really enjoyed this issue. Looking forward to the finale in the next issue.
That was that Afterlife of Archie was
Creepy.
creepy. And,
Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
I saw a Jughead zombie.
Yeah, you see the Jughead zombie on the cover, and that's kind of disturbing. Injustice. So this is funny. Some people were talking about Injustice, and it seemed like a good jumping on point. And thanks especially to Cammie, Reader 1717, who let me know that it was a good jumping on point. And she was right. Even though clearly there's been lots of stuff going on before, I was able to follow everything and really enjoy this. So I realize now, is it also in my pile here somewhere, that I am reading, I don't have it here, but I also read Justice League 3000 number 2 and really enjoyed that. So if you count Earth 2 and Injustice and Justice League 3000, I'm reading 3 variations on the Justice League. But I'm not reading any of the mainline Justice League books from the real DC universe. And I generally don't think of myself as interested in the Justice League. I'm interested in the individual characters' books. But for whatever reason, these twistings and playing with the mythos of the Justice League makes for really good entertainment. And it's worth noting that here we have the old Green Arrow, as everyone knows and loves him. And he's done very well here. Wonder Woman, another excellent Wonder Woman issue. Again, unfortunately, too grown up for Quacking Duck. We have to look for older Wonder Woman that she can read. But just continue to love the play with the mythology. I'm amazed that we're on issue 27. It's still they kind of finished an arc at some point, but it's still the same story that began with issue 1. Kind of variations on it, but involving the woman who had Zeus's baby and her baby and all the events around that still going on, and just keeps bringing in more and more interesting mythological stuff. Chang's artwork is wonderful. As everyone says, wish he could be doing every issue. The other artists are good, but Chang just brings something extra special to Wonder Woman. Animal Man, I'm sad that it's ending, and it was pretty good. I do have to say it was kind of an issue with fighting where nothing is really established. Nothing is really finished or nothing amazing happens. I like the artwork with by Albuquerque that is kind of, to me, it's shades of Gene Colan artwork. But I do miss the Steve Pugh artwork, especially the way Steve Pugh used to do the Kingdom of Blood. He made it so cool, and we're spending a lot of time in the Kingdom of Blood, and here it's just kind of red and shadows. So I'm hoping that Steve Pugh's work over at Marvel will equal what he did on Animal Man. I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of great artwork, the kind of dark, immersive fantasy Umbral has just absolutely wonderful artwork, and I'm loving it more and more with each issue. The story is starting to click with me a lot more. Umbral is this fantasy story. Remember we talked about Umbral? It's this magic creatures are called Umbral, but there's also another dimension called Umbral. And there's other ideas in here that we haven't fully learned but seem interesting, like some magical stuff called Mist. And so slowly we're getting more and more of this world, and the tension is ratcheting up. So I'm definitely on board for Umbral now, and I recommend it for, you can still dig up the first 3 issues. I recommend it for people who are interested in deep fantasy, not urban fantasy, but fantasy that's in its own fantasy world. I think there was even a map of that world in issue 1. I've hit the end of the line with Pretty Deadly. I don't think I'll be getting any more issues. Still love the art, just still not getting into the... Pretty Deadly is kind of like a magic Wild West story with kind of some scary parts in it, but it's not too scary. You can take a look at it if you want, Bugaloo. Alex and Ada... This is a great adult in just the kind of adult issues and adult pace science fiction. With each issue I like it more. This issue we got to delve into cyberspace in this world, and I really like the way cyberspace was portrayed. It was just futuristic but believable. This is really a future I can buy. Cyberspace is when people go into the virtual reality of computers, inside the computers, and seem as if they're inside the computer. Triple Helix is becoming part of a both very familiar and very odd series by John Byrne, because it so much resembles his Marvel work. And it's very good art, very good story. But it started in 4 issues of Trio, which was pretty good. And then these 4 issues of Triple Helix have been very good. And in this issue, which is the last issue of the Triple Helix run, a new group is introduced. And I have a feeling the next John Byrne series in this, because this issue ends with saying not the end, but this is the end of Triple Helix. So I think that the next comic will be about this group here. I'm forgetting what they call themselves.
Daddy, why does Marvel go reboot crazy?
Why does Marvel go reboot crazy? They seem to want to restart the issue numbering about every 12 to 16 issues, because they find that people buy a lot of first issues and like to buy number 1s. So they keep rebooting them to sell people number 1s. Constantine, I bought it because I liked Phantom Stranger, and the story was continued here. The story here was okay, and the art was a little less than okay. I don't know if I'll keep buying Blight or just wait and see if Phantom Stranger gets back to having his own story. Astro City 8 was the continuation of this winged Victory character who's kind of like Wonder Woman. She's a very interesting character, and I enjoyed this issue a lot. My only complaint would be, or not complaint, but I was watching someone's video or listening to someone talk about women in comics, and it suddenly occurred to me, oh, the light's getting dark. suddenly occurred to me that in this issue, it's all about men coming to the aid of the female. And I don't know if, Kurt Busiek is sort of doing that on purpose to make some kind of statement, or it's just a knee-jerk male reaction when writing a story about a female who's in trouble that he brings in males to try and help her. Why couldn't have other females rallied around her to help her? So I don't know. I don't know about that. That thought just kind of crossed my mind. Love this cover by Alex Ross. Egos is a new science fiction sort of superhero story from Image, and it had excellent art and a really good story. It has this interesting narrative structure where it kind of jumps around, and each time you transition to a different section, there's this kind of snarky narration in the caption boxes. And eventually we learn that the narrator is the estranged, maybe 20-year-old son of this older superhero, this guy here. But I really liked the art. I'm really interested where it's going. I really like the kind of cosmic world that he's created here. It's kind of shades of the best of Jim Starlin in a way. To me, I mean, not art. The art style is very different from Jim Starlin, but that's how it kind of feels to me. But it also has a kind of black sense of humor to it. So I'm pretty excited over Egos, and I'm definitely on board for a while with that and see if it keeps up that way. I tried to jump on Thunderbolts, another jump-on issue. This one was a more friendly to just jumping on. But maybe I had too high expectations because Charles Soule is writing it. So I don't think I'll continue with it. And then another thing that I picked up just on a whim was issue 3 of 5, and I hadn't read any others, of Legends of Red Sonja, which is written by a group of creators, and it's sort of a mosaic of stories while people are trying to hunt down Red Sonja to get her for some perceived evil doing, and they, along the way, get different stories about Red Sonja's life from different people. And I found it quite entertaining, and I enjoyed the variety of art styles. One of the short stories is even scripted by the artist Nicola Scott. Too bad she didn't do the art, but I imagine she's too busy for that. But it was fun to see. I found most kind of silly this one that's supposed to explain why Red Sonja wears the metal bikini. So they show how Red Sonja was dressed when she was first created by Barry Smith and Roy Thomas. I know in theory she's created by Robert E. Howard, but I really feel like Smith and Thomas created her because she was just a character in a poem before this. So yeah, we get somewhat of an explanation of the metal bikini here. So this is fun. Depending on your interest, it may or may not be worth $4. I might look and see if I can get these issues cheaper eventually. But I'm definitely find it a enjoyable reading. I like to have some sword and sorcery in my life. Okay, well, so there you have a look at a lot of my reading these past few weeks. Maybe Quacking Duck and I will do another video some other time talking about things she and I have read. We've been reading a lot of comics, mostly digital, and quite a bit of it. It's been pretty good. Do you think we've read some good comics lately, Bugaloo? Like the Rod Espinosa comics about Alice in Wonderland and Neotopia. And we've been reading a lot of Archie, as I said. We found some good Betty and Veronica books. Anyway, I hope you're all well, and I hope to go back to my old way of doing comic book thoughts videos in a week or two. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.